Okay, so we are on to secondary trig ratios. I know that trig isn't the best unit ever, so I'm trying to fly through it as quickly as possible with you guys. So those are the primary. Okay, so secondary trig ratios. So just as a review, for our primary review or primary trig ratios, we have the acronym SOHCAHTOA. So sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, cos is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan is equal to opposite over adjacent. When it comes to the secondary trig functions, those are the reciprocals of sine, cos, and tan. So this one here, so cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, and it's literally just our fraction flipped. So it's hypotenuse over opposite. We've got secant, which is the opposite or the reciprocal of cosine, which is hypotenuse over adjacent. And we've got cotangent, which is the reciprocal of tan, which is adjacent over opposite. Okay. So these ones, there's no acronym to remember them by. You just got to remember, I think of it as like S and C, C and S, and then T and cotangent. These will mix you up. They mix me up all the time because I think secant should be with sine, but it is what it is. So it's the opposite. So S and C and S go together. And it's quite literally the fraction just flipped. So I'm going to clear this and we're going to look at some examples. So find the primary and secondary trig ratios for the 0.45. So I know you guys are going to probably get some like this, and at first hand it looks a little confusing, but you need to think of it on a Cartesian plane. So if you have a Cartesian plane, you have the 0.45, which would be somewhere over here. You're going to turn that into a triangle. So here, this goes up by 5, so our side length here is 5. We don't know our hypotenuse, so we're going to have to try to find that. And then our side length here, because it goes 4, it's 4. So you try to think of it as an invisible triangle with your coordinate on your graph. So to be able to find h, we need to use Pythagorean theorems, which is c squared equals a squared plus b squared, as we've seen. So this will be our a, this will be our b, and this will be your c. So c squared is equal to 4 squared plus 5 squared. And in case you don't remember, the a and the b don't matter where they go. It's just the c that you need to make sure is associated with the hypotenuse. So this could be b, this could be a, but this one definitely for sure has to be c for this to work. So 4 squared is 16, or 5 squared is 25. Add those up together gives you 41. So to get rid of our squared here, we have to do the square root. So c is equal to the square root of 41, which comes up to 6.4. Another thing to keep in mind is our hypotenuse here, our c, is always going to be bigger than our 2 side lengths. So that's how you know that you did it right. Okay, so this guy, I'm just going to draw it into this c here, is 6.4. So they want us to do our primary trig ratio. So we've got sine. I'm just going to write again SOHCAHTOA. If you have to write it for every question to remember and visualize it, go for it. So sine of our angle is so we're using this angle, sorry. So this angle here is what we're looking for. So this becomes our opposite, and this is our adjacent, and this is our hypotenuse. Okay, so sine is our opposite, which is 4 over hypotenuse, which is 6.4. Cos is our adjacent, which is 5 over hypotenuse, which is 6.4. And then tan is our opposite, which is 4 over adjacent, which is 5. So those are our primary ones. That's what we saw earlier today. And then we've got our secondary. So those are the reciprocals. So we've got cosecant, which is the reciprocal of sine, and you just flip it. So it becomes 6.4 over 4. This one is secant, 6.4 over 5. And then this is cotan, which is 5 over 4. So you just flip your fraction here. Okay, so that is our answer for that example. We're going to move forward to a few more examples. So I'm clearing this. Okay, so determine the value of cosecant 35 degrees. So cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So that means that it is quite literally 1 over sine of the same angle. And if you plug that into the calculator, it gives you 1.74. Okay, with these guys, you are going to get numbers that are above 1. You're going to get some that are negative, and that's okay. It's just the sine and the cos that can't be over 1. And yeah. So we've got secant of 65. So secant is the opposite of cos. So you do 1 over cos of 68. So I just do cos of 68 in the calculator to get that decimal. So 0.3746. And then in the calculator, I do 1 divided by 0.3746, which gives us 2.7. Cotangent of 168 is 1 over tan of 168. So again, I throw that into the calculator first to get our decimal. So it's negative 0.21, and that gives us negative 0.76. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So sine of 275. Which is 1 over negative 0.996, which technically is 1, so it just gives us negative 1. In terms of finding the angle, so this here, what we do is we do the reciprocal of this, so sine, and we do the inverse, and then 1 over this number. Okay, so you punch that into the calculator, and that's going to give us 53 degrees. You're going to do the same thing here. So the reciprocal of this is tan. So you're going to do tan inverse. Again, it's always going to be 1 over this number. Okay, and that gives us 26 degrees. Secant of C. So you're going to do the inverse, which is cos, 1 over that number. And that gives us 71.4 degrees. Same with this, so tan inverse 1 over 2.718, and that's going to equal to 20 degrees. And this is an 8. Okay, and that is all for those. So an important note to do, actually I'm going to stop sharing this and I'm going to show you a nice website. I will give you guys the link for it. It's quite helpful when it comes to this stuff. So share screen, okay. So here you have the website. So you would put the angle here and you would hit what you're looking for. So sine of 35, and it'll give you the number. So it skipped a little bit here. So it'll give you the number right here. And you'll do the same thing for cos. Okay, and it'll give you the answer right there. And you'll keep doing, so cosecant. This is more for cosecant and secant and cotangent just because those aren't on your calculator. So this makes it a little bit easier for you guys. Okay, so it would tell you the answer right here. Okay, and that is all for that.